Ben de ilk önce burada olduğunuz için hepinize teşekkür ediyorum. Düzenleme kuruluna da psikofarmakolojinin yanında.
Thank you very much for being with us today. Apart from psychotherapy, psychopharmacology, there are many different treatment modalities. Thank you so much for this great presentation. Before or without talking about Freud, I don't believe that we can talk about any kind of psychotherapy. Psychodrama is not a very popular technique, but when I told you role playing, or when I tell you evaluation of the action of that time, when I told you tell you this, I believe you have all experienced these under different titles, not necessarily psychodrama. Psychodrama define these techniques as a therapy area. So today I will try to talk about the history of psychodrama, and I will be talking about the implementations of psychodrama. So you can see psychodrama was first recognized method of group psychotherapy, which was developed by Dr. Moreno. Of course, it is right to say it because he was the first psychodrama. It is not something known, and nowadays it is practiced in more than 100 countries. We know that in Freud, verbally, people talk about their own inner world, but here, inner world is reflected based on the actions. This therapy technique is classically classified as a group therapy technique, but there also exists as a branch of psychodrama called monodrama. These concepts are also included in the game therapy and monodrama. Monodrama includes creativity, spontaneity, and action. Creativity can be seen in Freud. If we have a look at Moreno's life, creativity was very important, was very much crucial for their lives, because creativity can make us see some things different from others. Moreno, first and foremost, was in Vienna University. In the Garden of Vienna Medical Faculty, he was watching the children playing games, and he had some observations with the children's playing games, their actions, their activities. They tried to take some roles, and they found solutions to their problems, and he tried to adopt it into adult's life. And when he was an intern, he was working with some sex workers, and he observed that sex workers tried to solve their problems by adopting some role-playing models for them. After he migrated to United States, he found the same things among immigrants. Here you can see he developed social metric concept. Why people prefer some others, why others were not excluded or were included. He found some basic concepts which include group therapies. Maybe you know Yalom's books. he tells about basic principles of group therapy. And group therapy's basic principles are based on Moreno's principles, the features of the closed groups and open groups. Based on his own observations and creativity, he found these principles. How does spontaneity become important in the psychodrama sessions? Spontaneity is the ability to bring solutions for similar things in a newer perspective. In order to produce solutions, a person should show his ability to adapt spontaneously. And action. What does action mean? We have to be emphasizing on the action. If we work with psychodrama, because thanks to mirror neurons, without making any action, even we follow mirror neurons, there can be different changes on our mind. As Burak has already stated, back then in 1920s, these things were not known. We started to discuss these topics very recently, but these people were genius. Though they couldn't define neurons as mirror neurons, but they found their impact on the psychodrama, and that person was Moreno for those times. In order for this technique of psychotherapy to be understood, the terms of stage, protagonist, director, and auxiliary egos must be first touched upon. Here, the stage was formed. Protagonist plays his role, and outside director uses a chair, and behind that, audience or the auxiliary egos take place. And above, there is a balcony that can be used as an observation area. But as time goes by, that example changed, and in this hall we can actually apply the same thing. Different techniques can be here. We can use any kind of place. It is illuminated and adjusted based on the standards. Any kind of environment can be used as our scene. The protagonist is the main character. And auxiliary egos are those from the group who act out certain people, concepts, and emotions, etc. These are the people who are chosen by the protagonist. And the director is the person who is responsible for each session of the therapy. Leader can be called as director or psychotherapist, but there is only one director in each session. And that director must be equipped with psychodrama education. So she or he has to have a background of psychotherapy, especially with the children. Auxiliary directors are very important in order to carry out the session in a better way. Because auxiliary directors can facilitate the task of the sole or leading director. Psychodrama sessions typically consists of warm-up, a period of action, and a sharing session. The warm-up activities build group trust and coherence. On the warm-up, inner processes of the individuals are reflected. It is actually equal to group game playing sessions. For example, you may ask, I would like you to talk about one of your features which starts with your very first letter of your name, for example. You can remember those kind of stuff from your background if you have any psychodrama background. There are many warm-up activities. Spontaneity and creativity enters into the issue from the very core. Therefore, you can also use your creativity. Protagonists and auxiliary ego come together at this warm-up session. And during warm-up, during playing sessions, nothing is tried to be advised, and then other parts follow the first part. Psychodrama with children. Children are, by their very nature, spontaneous, and psychodrama with children. Children experience the challenge of transcending their ordinary personalities and playing a role in psychodrama in order to try and understand other people. Psychodrama groups allows children to observe different behavioral patterns and to try out different ways of acting without fear of judgment, thus allowing them to adapt spontaneity and creativity and problem-solving skills for them. The main areas in which children can practice psychodrama are age and stage-specific problems, behavioral problems, anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and bereavement and traumatic grief, obsessive-compulsive disorder. In many areas, psychodrama technique can be used as a group therapy. And different from other parts, in the children sessions, materials should not be available anywhere, but they must be provided in a closed closets. In applications of the psychodrama technique in children, it is recommended that the treatment team consists of one leader and two auxiliary assistant therapists. The group consists of at least 3 and at most 6 children. Session periods do not exceed 1 week, and the session must be between 45 minutes and 1 hour in order not to distort cognitive processes. But when it comes to adolescents, because of their certain periodical features, we know that their peers, relationships with their friends are very important. Because of these features in the psychodrama with adolescents, we can understand that we can be very successful with our techniques. And behavioral problems, identity confusion, adjustment problems, anxiety disorder, substance-related abuses, and eating disorders can be evaluated with psychodrama techniques. Providing catharsis and developing insights is a big advantage when you work with adolescents. Groups must contain at least 6 and 12 adolescents. For the adolescents, session groups having the same gender in one session is discussable. When you work with trauma-related topics, same gender session is advised. But apart from that disorder or problem, mixed groups must be preferred. And the planned sessions do not exceed a session once per week and 2 hours at a time. This is what we can say. I have not much time, that's why I'm not going to dwell on the details. Psychodrama can be learned by experiencing. That's why each year in Bergamo there is Congress held by the association, and this year's Congress theme is limitations. So if you are curious about this Congress, you can come. You are all invited. You are all welcomed. And there are some psychodrama books. I believe they are very beneficial if you are interested in psychodrama. Thank you very much for your patience. If you have any questions at the end of the session, I'll try to answer all of them. Thank you very much.